Hello, my name is David. I'm managing coffee program at 8 Ounce Coffee and also the owner of David Coffee Roasting Company.
My name is Wes Farnell. I'm one of the owners of 8 Ounce Coffee and I love new coffee gear. So today we're here to talk to you about a range of new products from one of our favourite manufacturers, Timemore. So first today we're going to introduce you to the Timemore vacuum sealed canisters. DK, what do you think about these?
I think it's the decent size for two most common whole bean size, whole bean bag size options. So the bigger one, 1.2 liter, is good for 12 ounce coffee bag, and the smaller one is a medium size, 800 ml canister is good for 250 gram whole bean bag, and we are going to have smaller ones.
We'll have a 400 ml one in hopefully within a couple of months. But at the moment, these are going to be the two most popular, we think, and so we hope you like them as much as we do. I think a little more about them. They are pretty simple. It has a dual silicone seal on there, which means it has a really nice fit, and it also has two buttons on the top. The one button is the larger one is to take all the air out, and the smaller one is to release it. Now, Timemore say that after about 6 days, if you haven't opened it, then you probably want to repump that again just to make sure all the air is taken out of the canister. But I think probably what people really want to do is hear the air coming out, because it's just really satisfying. So I'm going to pump this up real quick. Feel free to join in, DK.
Okay.
Let's get near. Ready?
3, 2, 1.
So you felt good. You felt good. So yeah, the Timemore vacuum sealed canisters, I think going to be really good price point and look pretty stylish as well. There you go, DK.
Good.
So next product we're going to talk about, as although the weather wouldn't make you feel like it, it's nearly cold brew season, is the Timemore Icicle cold brewer. I think first thing that I just really like about this is the aesthetic, the look. I think it looks really beautiful and looks really simple.
Yeah, I really like this half transparent.
Yeah,
it really fits well to the cold brew brewer.
I think it also gives a quality look as well, which I think on just transparent glass you don't quite get that same feeling. But it is a little more than just aesthetically pleasing. So probably a few things to talk about around this is the filter itself is the full length of the glass bottle, which means you're just getting a much better extraction. It's not all bunched up into just a small portion of filter at the top. We then have this lid, which again, because of this metal part here on the top, it just feels solid. It feels like it's good quality.
Heavy.
Yeah, it feels nice. And then we have the lid itself and the filter. In the filter, we do have a little sub filter in there. So this is nice because if it sits in the top and you lie this brewer down in the fridge while it's extracting, then you're not going to get any coffee grounds come out. It's going to be entirely retained in here. So if we put this back together, there we go. I'm going to put this back on and take the lid. One of the really nice things about this is now fully sealed, so I can lie it down. But if I want to pour cold brew out once it's brewed, I can just undo the top a little and I can pour it 360 degrees. And it pours really nicely. It doesn't go everywhere. It's a really nice stream of fluid that comes out of there. Of course, you'd have removed the coffee filter from there first, but it's actually really beautiful and just nicer to have on the table. Also got a few markings on the side to indicate volumes. You've got around 600-700 volume total capacity in there, mil total capacity. Although these are, I believe,
300, 400,
300,
and 500 mil.
Yeah, and so it just gives you some guide if you don't want to use a scale to measure out your coffee or your water. Although we would highly suggest that you do, to make sure you get consistent recipe.
So one thing you need to care about is when you make a cold brew, make sure your water level is above the level of coffee. Otherwise, your coffee above the water level will not extract it.
Yeah. sensible tip. It's the sort of thing that I would do with while not thinking about it. One more thing, it does come with a couple of other items. It comes with a little cleaning brush, so you can clean the inside because it is a pretty slim bottle top. I mean, you've probably got something at home that you can use already, but you can get in there and clean. But also a nice little addition is this funnel. So when you want to actually put coffee into the filter, it gives you a bit of direction and saves you getting coffee everywhere. So again, pretty well thought out item, nice little additions to add to that, and it just looks really nice and does a great job. So that is the Timemore Icicle coffee brewer. How long would you leave this in the fridge or to extract, DK?
I tried 8 hours.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it tastes good. I think this design helps to extract faster than wider and shorter design.
I did a 6-hour extraction on this at home, and it worked really well. It was a really well balanced extraction. So, and again, whilst you can use this to brew concentrate, I think it's probably most effective application is ready to drink. So it's ready to pour straight out and drink out of there. But yeah, and that is the Timemore Icicle cold brew. Okay, next is a new color of a item that we have ready. This is the Timemore Black Mirror basic weighing plate, but in white. So we could call it the white mirror, but it's not, it's the black mirror. But it's a really, really good value scale. It's simple, it looks really good, and you might wonder where the display goes, and the display is there. So I'm going to put it down so we can see how this works. Displays at the bottom. It has a few different cool functions. Now, it's a basic scale, so you can switch it on and off. It has a timer, which you can start by pressing this button here, and then you stop it doing the same, and then you can zero out by holding it down. It also has a few other functions. So they have updated the sound on this because the sound was frankly on early versions piercingly loud. Yeah. And so they've made it a much softer sound. Remember when we first got a sample version of the Black Mirror, the sound was extreme, and so that's definitely been softened. Next to, you've got a sound icon there, and you can switch the sound off as well. So all you're going to do is hold this button down for 5 seconds, and it's going to switch the sound off. Yeah. Which is nice if you don't want that audio going in the cafe and you're actually keeping, and you're watching the scale all the time. The other thing you can do on this is, the only other function it has is an auto start. So if you keep pressing this button, you get a little A icon, which is basically an auto timer. And so as soon as you then press this, you'll get a countdown from 3 to 0, and then it'll be ready to start. Now, to start that timer, any pressure that's applied to the plate is going to start that timer moving. You need to stop it manually, but it's a nice little extra function to have on a really good value basic scale from Timemore.
Yeah, it's pretty quite common mistake that you forgot to start timer. You can prevent that with this auto start function.
Yeah. Probably the only other things that I can think to mention on this is it is a USB-C charging
Type-C
cable.
Yeah.
There is, if you ever really need to, there's a full reset on the bottom. It's just a little pinhole that you can put something into there and reset it back to factory settings. And then finally, you have a little heat pad that comes with it that can just sit over the top and protect your scale. One more thing to note actually is I've also used this as an espresso scale, and it does a pretty decent job because it's not too big, but it's nice to have a white version of the Black Mirror that we've had before. So that is anything else?
Yeah, I have 2 more things to talk about. So the first thing, like in terms of design, like it has good gap between the surface level to the plate, so it is really easy to grab from the table, which is like quite rare design. So it actually helps your workflow at a cafe or even at home. Like when you use scale, it's super easy to grab right away. And the second thing is I really like their consistency on their design. So on the white, it's similar to the Icicle cold brew, is half transparent, and they put the cover on top of the plate, so it gives you some cool icy aspect of it.
Yeah. There is probably one more thing worth noting about this. It is going to be slightly more expensive than the black version, just because the LED has to be much stronger to show clearly through this particular type and color of material. And I think that is everything on the white version of the Black Mirror Basic weighing plate.
Yeah.
So, staying with scales, we're now going to bring out the Black Mirror Smart Scale. Correct?
Black Mirror 2 Smart.
Black Mirror 2 Smart Scale.
And it's my favorite scale out of all the scales in the market.
Why is that?
Because it has dual sensor. So for the barista or like home brewer, like who want to improve their brewing skill, what they really need to understand is how water flows into your brewing system and how coffee comes out from the coffee bed. So it has the two sensors. So the top plate is measuring the water goes into the brewing chamber, and the bottom scale is weighting the entire weight of
the whole brew, everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's pretty interesting to look at. If we take this, it comes with this nice little protective rubber plate which wraps around the back, and you can see, if you look here, this is where we connect into the second load cell, basically the second scale in there, and then there's another load cell which is directly under the plate in the bottom. If we go to switch it on, the first thing we need to do is actually, which is a really nice feature that I like, is we have a physical on-off, so we can switch that physical on-off on. Does that work? Yeah, on-off on. And then we have the display. Now, a few different little things you'll see on the display. We have a timer. Yeah. We have two weighing displays here. Again, one for the top, and that is basically the bottom display there. And then the weighing plate on the bottom will give you the total weight altogether. Yeah. Now, the other thing to notice in the center is that we have a grams per second little timer there. And it's just showing you how quickly you're pouring your water. So you can try and be consistent and try and pour at the same flow rate. Would that be correct?
Yeah, it shows flow rate.
So what else do we like about this, DK?
I like they updated the top plate. So their former version was just flat rim, and they actually put the 60 degrees angle. So you can put any types of brewer that has 60 degrees angle, for example, Hario, V60-123 versions, you directly put your upper glass to the top.
To rest straight in there.
Yeah.
And of course the Timemore crystal eye drippers fit perfectly in there.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they're designed for. But the nice thing is it has more usability now. It's not just designed around that brewer.
And it's holding really well. You don't need to worry about like flipping over.
Yeah. And we can also adjust the height on this. And so we can just unscrew here, and we can just move this up and down.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. And this is all aluminum, I believe. It also, of course, like any smart scale, it has an app that accompanies it, which allows you to change different settings on the scale, monitor more data on the scale. It'll even tell you exactly how to brew if you want to. Now, we're not going to go in depth into the app right now, because there's going to be a few people that really want that app, but most people will want looking at having a really high quality scale that has an exceptionally quick refresh rate. And by that I mean you'll see every 0.1 of a gram cycle through. Oh, it's worth noting that its weight range is 0.5 grams up to 2 kilograms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so with any of these scales, actually, with this or the previous scale, they're actually really useful just to use for general use in your kitchen as well, not just for coffee making. Although this I'd really just use for coffee making because it's a bit more expensive and it has a lot more functionality. Anything else you want to talk about on this scale?
No, that's everything.
Cool. Well, that is the Black Mirror Smart 2 Smart Scale or weighing panel.
Weight panel.
From Timemore. So the next products we're going to look at are the Chiuwen.
Yeah.
Chiuwen. I'm no doubt murdering the pronunciation, but the Chiuwen Server Set. Now this I'm going to let DK talk about a little more, because when we originally took this out of the packaging when it arrived, he was so excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So I'm going to pass this over to DK and he can walk through these products.
Yeah. First of all, like I really like glass with texture because it gives like really beautiful reflection when you put the lights on it, or in a cafe if you have like some spotlight, then it will give you like beautiful pattern on your table.
I just think it's beautiful, and you know when you've got the coffee in there as well, you get that sort of wine-like color just coming through. It's so pretty, and I'm going to let you carry on talking.
Yeah, and also it has really nice thickness, so you can grab a handless server with bare hand, and we have option of with handle. So if you prefer with handle version, yeah, we have that version. And also the cups also have pretty good weight and thickness.
Do you know the capacity of these?
Yeah, so the full capacity is 70 milliliter, but practical capacity is 50 milliliter. And then the server, the full capacity is 500 milliliter, but the practical capacity is 300 milliliter. Yeah. So it is good for like 2 people sharing one coffee.
Yeah.
And we have these as a set.
Yep.
Right?
We've basically got 2 options of sets. So I'm going to be totally honest, I took these home on the weekend to try them, and I really didn't want to bring it back. My first impression was the server is beautiful. It's going to pour well because frankly all of the spouts that Timemore make just pour beautifully, and this is no exception. But my concern actually was that the cups were quite small. But I brewed several coffees over the weekend, and this was just so nice to drink out of. It was really reminiscent of drinking, say, senchas or Japanese or specialty Chinese teas, where you're just drinking smaller amounts. And I really did find I got a lot more enjoyment out of just drinking these smaller amounts of coffee and just continually topping up than having a big cup. And the other thing about this is you'll see that there's a curved top, and you may think it's just an aesthetic thing to start with, just a design thing. But actually when you're drinking from the lower side, the higher sides of the edge really direct the aromas more towards your nose, and it was such a nice drinking experience. So I didn't know what to think of these when we originally bought them in, but I've absolutely fallen in love with them. Now the handle version is a little more expensive because basically it's quite a lot of work to get this handle attached flush to glass and keep it solid, and so there's a hole that's been cut through the glass and then it's been resealed, and it's just this is a imitation wood handle, so it won't get destroyed in dry climates, and it's just a bit easier to clean and take care of. But yeah, I've just really enjoyed it, and again, it's just so nice to look at the light coming through the glass. It just looks so beautiful. So whether it's at home or whether it's in a cafe and you want to really present something beautifully, it's an amazing option, and I'm so into this. So our next product is the Timemore Chestnut X grinder. Now this is their flagship grinder. It is designed to live in the same area as Comandantes or Kinus, and it is a really, really cool grinder. I've been using one for the past 6 months as a sample version, and I have just enjoyed using it so much. It has all the features of all these other high-end grinders, but it also has a few extra things which just really make it stand out for me. So DK, would you like to talk a little about the Chestnut X?
Yeah, so what I like, the first thing is they put the rubber pad on the bottom of the handle, so when you fold it, it doesn't create the noise. It is really good touch, and yeah, like foldable handle to save the space. And another thing I really like is their bottom piece. So you only need to rotate, and
it's like half a turn, right?
Half a turn, and then it comes up, which
yeah.
is super easy. And then their grind this thing. So on the app, you can actually find the recommended grind setting for different brewing methods. They put the micro adjust with the macro adjust, so you can do the fine tune with the Chestnut X model.
I think for anyone who doesn't really know much about this, if I can just liberate that from you for a second, is that a couple of things that I really love about this is when DK refers to micro and macro adjust, it really means that you've got bigger steps and smaller steps. So you can really get down to the fine detail of a grind. Now, if we were looking at the Comandante, if you added a red clicks onto the Comandante, it would allow you to do the same thing. I love the fact that it's built into this. But probably one of my favorite features is it is an absolute grind measurement. So what that allows you to do is to exactly communicate what the grind level is to someone else. So if I tell you it's at 16.04, you can go to 16.04. What you don't have to do is go to 0 and then start clicking forward, because anyone who's used these grinders before will have 16 clicks. Well, that means going all the way down to 0 and then going back all the way up again. And so you don't have to do with this. And this is as I'm aware, it's the first grinder that's actually had that functionality on. And I really like it. The other thing is that it is entirely made out of aluminum, which means that I'm not worried about, especially when I'm traveling, I'm not worried about dropping the base and it breaking. So this whole one-piece design is amazing. And one thing to note, it's heavy. It's not a light grinder. So if you really need a light grinder, this is not the grinder for you. But if you want something that really just feels solid and super quality, then this is it really delivers on its cost. I think it's an exceptionally good value grinder. Probably one more thing worth talking about is the burrs themselves, and we'll just talk about that quickly. DK?
Yeah, bird design. So Timemore updated their bird design. So they added big spikes on the upper part of the blade. Basically, what these blades are doing is they start breaking up the whole bean to the bigger chunk before grind with the bottom layer. And also you can remove the silver skin, which is fiber inside the whole bean, by adding these big blades on upper parts.
Cool. And I think the other interesting thing then, if you want to try and remove those and you're using something like some type of coffee sifter, it's much easier to remove those as well.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting design, and I think they've done a pretty good job. I think it gives a really solid output. So yeah. So we have got a separate video for this the Timemore Chestnut X. If you click below, you'll be able to go and find out a bit more about this grinder. But the important thing about today is not necessarily just the grinder itself, but it's the new color of the grinder. I believe this is limited edition. It is their Safari Green, and this particular one has an optional leather case, brown leather case, and I just think it looks amazing, and I'm going to take this one home because I love it so much. But if we take the cover off, you'll just be able to see the color there and give you some comparison. But I'm a big fan of the green grinder, the Safari Green grinder, especially with the brown leather case on, and I think this is going to be super popular. And again, it may be pretty limited, so if you do want to get one, you better get one quickly. So last but not least is this is the Timemore coffee suitcase. So let's put this down. It's got some pads on the bottom there. This may seem excessive to some people, but to other people, it'll seem perfectly rational and well-reasoned. This is a suitcase, of course, just to carry your coffee gear around with you. And so let's open this up and see what we've got inside. Now, some of you might think this is quite a large thing to carry around with you, but this is Timemore's small coffee suitcase.
Yeah.
We will have the larger coffee suitcase soon, but in the meantime, we'll all have to live with the small. So let's see what's inside here. So what we have is some paper filters, and we have a little carry bag for one of the items inside, which is a grinder. So inside this we have everything bar the scale that you need to make pour over coffee on the move. So we'll start with this. We have a Fish 03 Timemore 600ml pour over kettle. Now these are really cool because they pour exactly at 90 degrees because of the spout design. They also has a little hole in the top for a thermometer, which we'll get to in a minute. We then have a 360ml 01 server. Again, just pours beautifully, has a lid with it as well. So we have some to brew into. And then, oh, so you're getting ahead of me there, DK. I was going to rest this on top. This is the crystal eye, the glass crystal eye dripper from Timemore, which sits beautifully on the top of there. We then have a C2 grinder, probably the best value coffee grinder on the market, I would say. It is exceptionally good value coffee grinder and just provides a really good output. And as I've got one hand, I'm going to pass it over to DK to assemble. We of course have a little brush to keep our grinder nice and clean. And last but not least, we have a thermometer. Now the thermometer is this, and it goes through that hole there, so we can make sure we're using the perfect temperature water to brew our pour overs. There is one more thing in here, which oh, there it is.
Yeah, there.
There we go. So not only does the case have a hinge that sticks open because you don't want to cut your fingers off just before you're about to make coffee, it also allows you to lock your beautiful coffee gear away so that when you're traveling, no airport personnel decide it's a great time to make some coffee with your well-earned coffee gear. So that is the Timemore Coffee Suitcase Small. Small. Anything else you want to add on this, DK, or has that pretty much covered it?
I think it pretty much covered it. Like, I really like this suitcase thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for like air travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always worrying about like breaking things.
Yeah.
But with a good form inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
And I think
reliable.
noting there is enough space in here to put a little more, if you wanted to cut a little more out, say you wanted to get a scale in here as well, you could cut that out and that would protect it as well. There is room as well to put a couple of bags of coffee in there. So it's a really nice case. We do have this without the case. I'm not quite sure why you'd want it without the case, but in case you do, we do have it without the carry case. But I think it's a great little kit, and it's also going to make an amazing gift for someone who wants to get into coffee, and it gives them everything they need to start with. So that is the Timemore coffee case.
Thanks for watching our Timemore new product review, and we are going to upload our video contents every week, so make sure to subscribe, and you can find the link over here.
You're going to love the Timemore products, and thank you for joining us for this Timemore exploration. And happy brewing.
Happy brewing.
Happy brewing?
Happy brewing. Happy brewing.
Happy brewing.